Alright, so you've been inspired to turn your backyard into a food-producing Eden. What is the first step? What do you do first? Do you get ducks? Do you grow trees? Do you grow pineapples? What do you do? Today I want to answer this question for you so that as you go into your backyard and you begin to establish a system of food production for you and your family, you'll have a good place to start. Let's get to it. So whenever you build anything, see my garden back there? It's lovely. But whenever you build anything, you start with the most permanent part of that thing. So you build a house, you build a foundation. That is the most permanent part of a house. You drop a bomb on it, the foundation is still there. The rest of it's gone. So you may know where I'm going with this, but the number one thing to start with when you're starting to produce food, I'm gonna say, is trees. Yeah, I've been growing these oaks for 50. No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna show you my very first tree that I planted in my yard. And the reason I'm a big advocate of trees is because they take so long to grow, or I'm a big advocate of planting them before you do anything else, is because they're the foundation of your food production. And they're the most immovable plant. So this is a nectarine tree. It'll be here for the next 10 years or so, hopefully. It's the first tree I planted, and it's doing amazing. And I didn't have to do anything to the soil. I just simply dug a hole, put the tree in, covered it over, watered it, and actually planted in the summer, so we had rain all summer, and the tree does great. Now I'm getting my fertility systems going, all these sorts of things, and check this out. I put a row here, and I filled in between the logs with compost. So I'm hoping next year I get a really great crop. This past year I got a pretty decent crop, and it put on a lot of growth over the summer, and so now it's starting to drop leaves, and I'm hoping next year I get a really big crop of nectarines. That would be simply amazing. Oh, hey ducks. So another reason I advocate for planting trees. Look, I've got 4 beautiful moringas here and a crow. But the reason I like to have trees down first is because I'm planting all my annual crops around my trees. I can't just pull up my trees and move them. I maybe could, but that's not something you want to do very often. And so right here, I've got some garlic, a few garlics here, and there's an onion, and that's actually some arugula, and we've got a watermelon growing in here. But the point is, I can plant these annual crops all around my trees. There's another onion back there, all around my trees pretty easily. Oh, and that's a watermelon growing out. So that's why I get my trees in first, because I'm planting everything around my trees, and they're kind of the reference point from which I expand my garden. And so I have here's another example over here. That is actually a peach / maybe it's a nectarine. I don't know what it is. I planted it from a seed. I don't know what seed it was, but it was from a nectarine or a peach. But you can see right here, I planted some arugula, and this little row of arugula is planted in reference to the tree. Now, if I already had a bunch of arugula in here and decided, oh well, and this, I planted stuff in here but it didn't pop up, so we'll see what happens. But if I had planted a bunch of greens and then decided to plant a tree in that spot, well, I would have destroyed a bunch of greens that I had planted. And I would have maybe waited 3 months to plant my tree in that spot so that the greens would be done and blah, 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 blah. Whereas if I start with trees, I can plant everything around my trees. All right, so the first thing you're gonna do is plant your tree. There's a few things you need to know about planting your tree. Nothing crazy, very simple. And basically, the only thing you really need to know before you plant a tree is sunlight. How much sunlight are you getting in that spot? And so most trees require a sunnier spot. So that's all you need to know. Once it's in the ground, you can do all the research and what minerals it needs and whatever research you're gonna do. And so that makes it pretty simple. You can just go to the store, make an impulse buy, throw it in the ground, and then worry about, oh, well, does it like high fertility? Does it like lower pH? Whatever. If I want an apple tree, I'm just going to put an apple tree in the ground. The other thing is, I don't want to stack too many concerns for you right at first, but I would not buy most plants from Lowe's or any of the big box hardware stores. I would go to an Ace Hardware or a local nursery, and those people are going to know more than anyone. And so that's what I do. This tree came from a local nursery, and then the next place I'm going to be buying trees is Ace Hardware, because I went there and they had good deals and an insane variety of local varieties. And so that's the big thing, is you don't really need to know much. Go to these local nurseries that are like family owned or whatever, and have a conversation and say, hey, I don't know anything. What do I need to know about this specific plant and my specific climate? Or you can just say, hey, I want a fruit tree. Which one is the best one for beginners? And they're going to give you great suggestions. And so that's what I've always done, is I completely and absolutely trust people who are professionals in their field. And so, and like the guys at the family nursery, they don't have an agenda except for you to have a great experience on your first tree that they buy, or that you buy. So that's my suggestion, is go to a nursery, ask them what kind of tree. Don't like, if you're in Florida and you say, hey, I want an apple tree, it's not really a common tree that you grow here, but they do have some varieties, and they'll say, oh, this variety is really good for this area. And say, cool, thanks, you plant it and you eat apples next year. It's pretty sweet. And then, so yeah, trees. They're the foundation of any food production system. You could go completely without them. I do not suggest it. Trees are amazing. They're so much more solid. I plant a tree and it just produces year after year after year. I don't really have to do a whole lot to it. So I'm going to end this video with one last tip, and that is, if you want to start gardening, if you want to start producing food in your backyard, the number one key, this is more important than anything, is you must put something in the ground. You have to plant a seed or plant a tree or something. Just start. And my philosophy is, go to the grocery store, get a pound bag of black beans or black-eyed peas, and just litter those seeds everywhere, all over the garden area. And they will pop up and they will grow and it'll be amazing. And you'll be like, wow, I'm such a good gardener. You played a numbers game, and that's what I do. I'm not a great gardener. People say I am. All my friends think they always ask me all the questions. I'm like, I don't know, plant freaking tons of seeds. That's what you do. And that's what I do. And the more you do that, the better you get. I don't know how it works, but you begin to understand things better. And pretty soon you get better and better at gardening. But if you're going to start out, just start planting lots of seeds. Dump the whole $2 seed packet in an area. Don't save some for later or whatever. Just dump them all, and or dump half and then half later or whatever. See if those work out, because usually there's quite a few seeds in a $2 seed packet. But anyway, that's my last tip, is plant a lot and just get started planting a lot. And it's the habit of planting that will bring you success more than the techniques and the tips and whatever other stupid stuff you learn on YouTube. Alright guys, have a wonderful day and get planting.